Welcome to World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary, Boss, the podcast for busy professionals who want to plan unforgettable trips without the stress. If you're craving adventure, relaxation, or cultural immersion, but feel overwhelmed where to start, this is the show for you. Each week, we dive into travel tips, expert strategies, and actionable advice to help you save time, money, and hassle while helping you design your dream trip. From group getaways to romantic escapes to adventure packed journeys and budget friendly tips, we cover it all. I'm Ross, your host and travel enthusiast, with over a decade of experience balancing a demanding career while also planning trips to over 25 cities in Europe, all over the US, Central America, the Caribbean, and beyond. I've mastered the art of stress free planning, and I'm here to help you do the same. If you love what you hear, don't forget to follow the show, leave us a review, as well as share it with a fellow traveler. I want to make your next adventure the easiest and most memorable yet. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary, Boss. I'm excited today to dive into the ultimate guide to the Greek islands and helping you find hidden gems. And if you're a first time listener, we appreciate you joining. And if you're a returning listener, we appreciate you tuning in again. Make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening or watching. That helps you get every episode that comes out when we do solo episodes every Tuesday, as well as expert guest interviews every Wednesday. Our goal is to help you stop being overwhelmed to becoming a confident planner, just being able to start to plan trips effortlessly. As well as I understand there's a lot of decision fatigue out there. So we want to make you be excited to travel and make it easier to make some decisions. So really appreciate you tuning in and excited to dive into all things Greece today. We're going to have just a guide to jumping around on the Greek islands today. And then next week we will have where to go, when to go, and everything around there. So hopefully both of these are helpful. Diving into Greece because in September of 2024, actually took a trip there with my fiance, my best friend, and his wife. It was an awesome trip. Had always wanted to go. September is one of my favorite times to go there. And we went to Athens, Mykonos, Santorini, and Milos, and we went for 11 days, which was the perfect amount of time. And most people know when you're traveling into Greece, Athens is going to be the main hub and airport that you're going to want to start and fly into. So you can get direct flights from a lot of different cities on the East Coast. We're based out of Charlotte, so they actually just started, of course, the year after, right? We went in 2025. They actually just started this year from June to September. They do direct flights from Charlotte to Athens. If you're other places, I would look up, what do those flights look like? Those are on United from Charlotte. So take a look if you are looking to fly in on points and miles, and this will be a deeper dive that we do in a different episode as we take you on this rewards points and miles journey. You can go on One World Alliance, Star Alliance, and SkyTeam Alliances. So you can search on different programs like Alaska Airlines Mileage Plan, American Airlines AA Advantage, ANA, as well as a couple others. So stay tuned for upcoming episodes, blog posts around that, but wanted to just tease that out because I think that's helpful. So when you're flying into Athens, um, it's it's about an 8, 9 hour flight direct. If you have a layover, we had actually a layover in Munich. Always make sure that you give yourself, I like to say at least 2 hours, maybe more, just depending on 2 to 3 hours, to be honest, because sometimes, right, you're going to have to then go through customs and, depending on the lines, you don't want to miss that flight. So just something to keep in mind. But when you do get to Athens, and I'm going to share my screen because this will be a lot easier to walk through. When you get to Athens, it's pretty easy to get Ubers when you do get there. So that's something you can do. But when you fly into Athens, so I've pulled this up on the map, you can see it's about a 45 minute to an hour drive, depending on traffic. And you fly in here, here is where you'll go to, and I've already highlighted where the area you're going to want to stay. My suggestion would be 1 to 2 days. We flew in, we were supposed to get in early afternoon, and we got in closer to dinner just with a delay. So we had an evening in Athens. We were able to walk around. We did the Parthenon as well as the Acropolis, a couple other places, and everything. Right, if you're staying down here in Athens in the Plaka area, you also have the Monostrakia Square, which we stayed in. So we stayed the first night and then we stayed the last night before we flew out. So this whole area is good. You're going to pay a little bit less money. Over here, obviously in Plaka in the dead center, you're going to pay more, but just something to keep in mind. And then if you want to stay in an Airbnb, here's where we stayed. It was great. We truly enjoyed it. It was right in the middle of all the different bars, all the different restaurants. So have that available. I'll put that in the show notes. And then another place that we stayed was here, and this was on our last night. And this was great because you walked out on your roof, and this was actually your view of you're able to see the Parthenon and Acropolis. So pretty cool. So whichever you like, that's great. And for my points and miles people, you can also stay at the Hyatt Regency, which is if you go back to this map, you'll also see that that is going to be or sorry, the Grand Hyatt, and that's actually going to be down here. So not too far away. You can always take an Uber. You can take the train system to get into where you want to go, and you can use transferable points to pay for Hyatt. And if you follow us, we share all of that within our newsletter of best points to transfer. And best cards to get started with. So take a look. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, reach out. But that would be my suggestion for Athens is your day, stay in Plaka, stay here. And then you also can do, if you have time, you can do the ancient Agora of Athens. You can do the Temple of Olympian Zeus, and then you can stay, within Plaka. So that's how we got our day started. I also would suggest, just from a restaurant standpoint, when you're staying in this area, there's so many different places, so you can just walk up and go find a place. I wouldn't suggest trying to go out of your way to make reservations. Both nights, we just walked around and decided kind of, what are we in the mood for, and everything is going to be very affordable. And then once you get to the islands, you'll realize that it's not as affordable, but you understand that going in. So next, just how do we get to where we want to go? So if you come here, this is you're gonna this is where you're gonna take the different ferries out of if you plan to take the ferries, which that would be my suggestion. That's the easiest way to get around. But that's about a 20-minute ride. From it can be 20 to 30 minutes. My suggestion is always take the first one out because that's going to minimize any sort of delays. Also, from a traffic standpoint, it's going to be less people on. So that's what we did on every time, and it was probably the best decision. So you can take a cab from here. You're going to come here, and then you can see when you start to go to look at, where are the different islands. You'll start to see, okay, here's where Santorini is, here's where Paros and Naxos is, here's where Mykonos is, and here is, and then you're going to have Milos as well. So what we did is we started out in Mykonos. So it's about a 2 hour ferry. So we took the 7:30 a.m. out. We got there, which was great. And one tip and trick I always recommend is wherever you're staying, make sure that you reach out to your host, whether it's the hotel, whether it's an Airbnb, whether it's booking, message them and say, hey, we're arriving early. Is there any way we can do an early check-in? Usually they'll say, yeah, we'll see, what we have available. But then a lot of the times you then can just drop off your bags if they aren't available. But ours was ready to go at 9:30 a.m. So we actually stayed here. So this was an awesome place. You can see it slept four, nice right there on the water. And this was the balcony that we had to our own, so we had a place to eat. We had a place to hang out. So really awesome place. It also had a big pool. So this whole pool area, you had a gym. I highly suggest this place. We had a blast. There was also a bar. So really great place to go, stay. When we got there, the nice thing is we had a full day to do what we wanted to do. So my suggestion would be when you arrive, go to get a day reservation. So one thing just to call it before I dive into kind of our itinerary, always make your reservations for beach clubs, dinner reservations, everything well in advance because you're gonna, I mean, you'll be able to potentially get in. You might wait in line, but I would always suggest just getting a table. You might pay a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's going to get you in. You're going to have a better overall experience. So that's my suggestion. That being said, we went to the Santa Ana pool. We got a day bed reservation. You can make those online. We had a blast there. From there, we went back. We were able to get ready. And then we were able to do bar Negrita, which I highly suggest that. I wouldn't do dinner there. I would just do drinks, make a reservation for outside on the patio. They actually have, it's a party, and they have loud music, but it's right there on the water. You get one of the best sunset views in all of Mykonos. So I highly suggest that. One thing too that I did not mention is always schedule for these islands, at least in Mykonos and Santorini, schedule transportation with your hotel or wherever, or with your Airbnb host, wherever you're staying. And then from there, get your driver's WhatsApp or their card. And then that way you can communicate with them because Mykonos is a place where they do have a free shuttle from Paradise Beach, which is where we stayed. I would suggest staying there because it's right near most of the nightclubs, and I will give you just it's near most of the nightclubs. It's Let's pull this up real quick. Yeah, it's near most of the nightclubs and it's also at the beach. So you can see this is the main town. This is Paradise Beach over here. You also have these beaches. These are some of the nice beaches too. So if you want to stay over here, these are great. You also can stay in the town if you want to, but something just to keep in mind, there is the airport. If you are flying in, that's something else. But yeah, schedule that transportation well in advance. You have Paradise Beach here. You have this whole area is where I would suggest staying. This is where we stayed, and you're going to have a cab. They are not, they're not cheap. They are 35, 40 euros to go everywhere you need to go. If you are staying here, they do have a bus shuttle that is free that goes back into the town that you can walk to at a convenience store. So it just depends on convenience and what you're trying to do. But my suggestion would be get your driver's number, get his or hers WhatsApp, and use them throughout. That's what we did, and it made it very easy to get around logistically. So that night, go to Castro. So you'll do Bar Negrita for a sunset. Then you'll go to Castro's, which was great, right there on the water. It has some amazing. So you have some amazing views, and you'll sit there right on the water. You can do dinner, you could do lunch there. So whichever you prefer. We did dinner. We got one of these seats. We lucked out, so we got to sit there right on the water. It was amazing. So highly suggest that. It's actually less than like zero point 0.1 miles from Bar Negrita, so you can walk. They only accept reservations 14 days in advance, so something to keep in mind. Just schedule something on your calendar for that. And then we went to and then you got to do if you're going in the summer to fall, and they usually end out at the end of September. I think they open up beginning of May into September, but you have to do a night at Cavo Paradiso. It's one of the top rated nightclubs. It's a open air club where they have big DJs that go, and it's definitely a bucket list place to go. Sunday, we just relaxed. We had a big night. We were out till sunrise, and that's one of the things that if you can make it, do it at Cabo Paradiso. It's a pretty cool experience. Sunday, we just chilled at the pool at our place, which was great. They have breakfast, which the food there was really good, and then we did. Sundays are the day to do Scorpios or Namos. People usually get there around 5, 6 p.m. You will need to dress nicer. Closed-toed shoes. We wore linen, a collared shirt, and we ended up getting a table there, right there on the water, which it was well worth it. There was a minimum spend, but we had our own table. We had a server. It was easy, and as the night got, as DJs came on, the night got more and more. It was well worth it to have it. And then if you want to go out after, you can. There's Tropicana Beach Club, Paradise Beach Club at night, or you have the different nightclubs within the town. So that's what we did. And then Monday, we chilled at the Airbnb. We went to there's also the Tropicana Beach Club, which is right down there. You can get day beds for reservations. They were about $40 per bed. And then we went to Mykonos town. We took our cab. We also had some sunset pre-dinner drinks, the 180 bar. You can either do it's a walk-in, which is a minimum of $30 a person, and you get a drink, which it was well worth it. The sunset's cool. It's an awesome view. And I'll show you here real quick. But yeah, it's an awesome view. It overlooks, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see. But yeah, it overlooks the town. It's great. And then we actually were able to walk to dinner, which we did M eating, which that's it's there in Mykonos town. It was highly suggested from a friend, and we really liked that. So I would do that. Those are a couple good places to eat. There's also Bow's Cocktail Bar down in the town, and if you just walk around, you also can see a couple other places, and there's a bunch of stuff. So if you're just wanting something that's easy, Saki's Grill has cheap and just fast Euros, which are downtown. So would highly suggest that. But other than that, I mean, Mykonos is really a party island. You'll chill, you'll have a good time, tons of stuff to do. But those are all the suggestions that I have from what we did. And, after a ton of research, talking to different people, talking to people there, that would be my suggestion. Then you're going to hop on the ferry and go to Santorini. Couple things to know for the ferry. Uh, you'll get your tickets on your phone. Um, my suggestion: get there 30 minutes before, and when they do call people, when they do get there, it's kind of a madhouse to get on. Once you put your stuff on, just find your seat and you'll be good to go. And then it's about a 2 hour ferry to Santorini. And then once you get there, again, schedule transportation in advance. That's the one thing we did that saved us a ton of time because if not, you're going to get in a long line queue of people trying to get it. And the traffic coming in is crazy around that lunchtime. So, one other thing when you are leaving Santorini, make sure to take the first one out. You're going to minimize traffic. You're not going to, right? You're not going to have to go way in advance. So just another tip there. So we arrived in Santorini. This is where we stayed. We stayed at the Ethereum Luxury Cave. We had 4 people. You could stay here if you had two, but there's other places that you can stay. My suggestion is if we're looking at a map, if you want to stay in So this is your best bet. This is where everyone says to stay. That's not in IA, right? I think that's where everyone on Instagram says to stay. You're going to pay a pretty penny. If you do have points, there are some places you can stay, which in future areas we'll talk to. But my suggestion would be stay in Emery. I always butch this, but I'm just going to leave it at that. But this is where we stayed. Our cab drivers were making fun of us when we try to pronounce it. But this is Fira is kind of the main point. This is the area where you're going to get some of the best sunsets. You're also going to get some of the blue domes that don't have all the influencers. This is jam-packed and super expensive. You should go up there for a day, but you can do the hike, which was great. We did that on the way to dinner. Doing it during sunset was great. So we checked into the Airbnb. Airbnb, like I said, that's where we stayed. We did pre-dinner drinks at the Athena House, and then from there we went to Argo, and we the dinner there was really good. So highly suggest that. Um, so yeah, we did that, and then on the next day we were supposed to do the hike. We actually just relaxed, walked around. We actually walked down to Fira, ended up getting a euro at Yogi's, which I highly suggest. And then we had dinner up in Ia, and we went to Ambrosia at 7 p.m. Again, make reservations well in advance. That's going to help. And we got an awesome seat where we got to see the sunset and everything. We actually were supposed to do the hike that morning, and it actually rained, so that's why we made a transition to that. And then from the next day, we just did brunch right around the house. We went to the Santo Winery, which, if you take a cab, you'll be able to see that it's down here, and it's about a 15-minute ride. Again, get your WhatsApp from who picks you up, or it's or or you can get it from there are different ones that your host may have. So then we did the Sunset Catamaran cruise, which I highly suggest. You can do that through Viator. I'll have all that in the show notes. We had 8 people on. It went from 3 to 8 p.m. and it actually takes you. So they'll pick you up, they'll bring you down here, and then you'll actually cruise. You'll cruise up to Ia. So you'll cruise all the way up here. It'll drop you off here. You'll get to see this area, which is awesome. If you can eat dinner there, definitely do it. And then you'll cab back here. It's about a 25-minute ride to Ia from there. A couple tips and tricks. Tuesdays are when all the cruises come in. So maybe don't go to Ia that day. That's when everyone goes to try to get the Instagram photos, the blue domes. Again, there's some pretty cool blue domes. When we walked outside our house right here, we had blue domes right here. So we were able to get the same picture. There was no one standing there. So that's just a tip. I mean, if you're all about waiting in, dressing up and waiting in 3 to 4 hour lines, have at it. Go up here. That's not our style. So that's, this is really where you're going to get some of the best views, less crowds. Fear you're going to get some crowds, but you're also going to save a good amount of money staying here and get a better bang for your buck. So just a couple tips and tricks. Lastly, we took in all these different, like the catamaran cruise. I will include that within the show notes. And there's actually one other restaurant that we went to within Santorini that I will include as well. So for Milos, so next we went to Milos and we stayed. So you take the ferry to Milos. It was about a 2.5 hour cruise there. You're actually on a smaller ferry, so that was a little more bumpy, but it wasn't too bad. But why we picked Milos, I'd heard great things. I'd heard it's kind of the up and coming place where not as many people go from a Santorini standpoint in comparison. So that's why we decided to go there. This is where we stayed. This place was awesome right there. It was about a 10-minute ride from. So once we got there, it was actually a 10-minute walk from the ferry. We were right there in the center. This is perfect. You had probably one of the best balconies, honestly, in Milos. You were in the dead center. You had a coffee shop right below you, and you can see this balcony's massive. So you had a coffee shop right below you that had really good food. There was a grocery store that you could walk to. Very simple, easy. And then where I would recommend doing dinner would be Os Hamas. Ohamas. So that's a staple you'll see on my Instagram. And that's actually you can walk from here. It's about a 15-minute walk. But I would Ohamas. I'll get it up here for you. So this place, it's sweet. It's you walk there, it's right there on the beach. It's a staple, and you can't make reservations, so you just got to walk up. We walked in at like 5:36 so we could eat earlier. But yeah, it's and there's actually a little day club if it's just very casual. It's nothing like Mykonos, but if you want to go in, check that out. Um, but yeah, that eat there. And then the next day, my suggestion would be rent a four-wheeler, do the four-wheeler the whole time. If you get in early, we were kind of tired from Santorini. We just wanted a little chill day. But more, if you want just more time and you want to go explore as much as possible, my suggestion, rent a four-wheeler. They're all over the place. I think they're 60, $70 a day, and you literally can get everywhere you need to go. So that would be my suggestion is rent that four-wheeler and where you should go, and I'll just map this out for you on the fly. If you go from you go to so this is a famous beach. So this is how we mapped it out. But that day you have the four wheeler, you'll go here, and you can also get this in my free itinerary that I will have on my website. And from there you go up here. This place is awesome. You'll be able to see, um, and you'll be able to see this on my Instagram. But if you go to bring this over. This place is sweet. You can literally walk down, and there's octopus right there down on the water. This is an awesome place to go. Highly suggest it. Doesn't take reservations. Just go down and you'll be able to get seated pretty quickly, and you can walk around while you're doing that. Then from there, you can then go to here. You can see it's like everything's right around each other, but yeah, you'll be able to see some of the really cool stuff. And if you aren't watching, sorry, I'm just walking through and showing people some of the amazing viewpoints. But from a Plaka standpoint, you will then from there, Potamos, you'll then go to Plaka, which has some of the best just ancient stuff around Milos. It's the capital. You'll go to the ancient theater, the catacombs, the church and castle. And then if you want to do sunset drinks that night, you can do it at Utopia. It doesn't open until 6 p.m. and there's actually wait there. From there, if you don't want to do the whole Plaka area, Helena Beach is another area that I suggest. So you can go to Helena Beach, get pre-drink dinner at the deck, and then go to Acropolis. That's that's another great area. So that would be my suggestion for the day for day two. And then if you want to do a full boat day cruise, you can also do that, which is amazing. We had that scheduled, and then we were like, we did the Santorini catamaran cruise. We're good on cruises, so we're gonna just do. We took our four wheeler and did that the second and third day and just had a blast. But the full day boat cruise, I've heard amazing things. We actually went down to one of the beaches, and so there's Tisagrado Beach, and then you can kind of go down on the south west side of the island. And if you just and there's maps and the Airbnb host and most people just give you maps, but you can drive down. It's about a 15-minute drive, and that's kind of where you get lost. And that would be my suggestion is just take the ATV, drive around, and you're gonna have a blast. And then we got Astaka Sunset Dinner, which we made reservations in advance. You can pay like 50 euros for one of the tables, or you can just show up right when they open at 5 p.m. It is kind of a sketchy drive down into where you're going on your four wheeler, but you'll be all right. It's just more traffic getting in and out. So something to just one other tip. But as we round it out, I hope that's helpful. You will take so to Athens, you'll then take the ferry back, and it's about a 3.5 hour ride from Milos to Athens. The ferry is actually the biggest one we took from Milos to Athens. So that was actually really helpful. A couple just tips and tricks to leave you with. Use Sea Jets for all island hopping. So you can just come in here. You can type in, okay, I want to go from Athens to, let's just start out with Mykonos. Type in your dates, one way, right? And then you can just go boom. If you need a rental car, you can do that. I would just say one way, or just depending on where you're going, search, and then it'll pop up with different options. Again, I would just take the ones that are in the morning that are going to get you there the fastest. Also, just remember book transportation in time. So for Santorini, Mykonos ports, reach out to your Airbnb or your hotel or wherever your accommodation, and then and then reach out to them, and they'll set that up for you. Make sure you get your driver's WhatsApp. In Mykonos for Paradise Beach to downtown, you can take that free shuttle if that's what you want to do, if you're more on a budget. And then also just make sure you have cash for taxi drivers. They won't like it, or they don't really take credit cards due to higher processing fees, about a 13% processing fee. So just have cash on you. Some will take it if at least with in Mykonos, our guy did, but we also used him the entire time. And one other thing, just for Santorini, IA, if that's your vibe, go for it. It's great. You definitely need to go there. But my suggestion would be don't go on a Tuesday when all the cruise ship comes and it's packed like sardines. That's that's definitely what you don't want to be doing. So hopefully all that information is helpful. And if you have any questions, let us know. But I just rolled through that with some hidden gems, just from research that we did prior, main tips and tricks. Mykonos on Sundays, do Scorpios. That's the main thing for there. Santorini, do the Fira to Ia hike, watch sunsets. That's what you're gonna get, and just eat good seafood and just relax. Santorini was great. I probably wouldn't rent a four wheeler there. It's a little bit hectic. We just got cabs or walked. And then Milos definitely ran an ATV. That was the best part about it. And then once you get back into Athens, stay the night and then fly out. And then just if you do go to Athens and you aren't flying business and you want to go to some of the lounges, my suggestion would be download the Priority Pass app. That's going to set you up for success. And then from there, you can actually search, Athens Airport. It'll show you the different. Let me see if this will do it on my desktop. But with Priority Pass, you can actually search the different the different lounges within. So I could just search Athens. And then that way, and you can do this on your app. So on the go, like I didn't do this prior, but I was able to find, right? And then it shows you the different halls. Okay, where are these, right? And where can you go sit in? So we actually did, where did we do? I think we did we did the Gold Hair. So Sky Serve and Gold Hair are right next to each other in Hall A. So you both will get you in. If you're curious of what is the Priority Pass, it's something that you get access to over 13,000 lounges throughout this world, and you get that through having specific credit cards. So if you have one that I recommend, uh, you can get that. And then also there's another one, the Capital One Venture X Rewards credit card is one of the others, and that will also pay for your TSA pre-check. Or if you want clear, global entry, those type of things, it'll pay for all of that. And the priority pass is another thing. So if you're worried about annual fees and what those look like, we'll be covering that in upcoming episodes, but just another strategic way where you're not stressing when you get to the airport, right? You can get there a little earlier, you get free food, you can chill in the lounge, make sure you're ready for your flight. Um, One thing too, before I go, Athens, the airport is pretty simple. When you get there, my suggestion is don't check a bag. We don't check bags. I mean, that if you're doing it in a minimalistic way, that way you don't have to worry about um, checking in your bag. So when I say it's pretty simple, that includes not checking a bag. If you're checking a bag, it was kind of a madhouse. But if you aren't and you just have that carry on, you walk up, there's your passport control. And then there wasn't a line when we went, but we also did a Tuesday. So if you're traveling on a weekend, factor those things in. But yeah, if you don't check a bag, it's a pretty simple process. And yeah, we appreciate you tuning in. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, please leave those wherever you get your podcast. If you want to learn more, feel free to follow us on any of our socials that you see above. And if you want to follow, if you want to give us a 5-star rating and review, we'd greatly appreciate it. It helps us reach more people who are trying to travel. And please share it with a family or friend that you think would like this and maybe planning out their next trip to Greece. Until next week, we appreciate everyone tuning in and hope you have a great day.